Guys are ready.
So, how do you think your presentation went?
I think it went pretty well. I mean, it's not easy to do something that heavy in the evening in a big audience like that, but people seem to respond, so that's important. I've gotten a lot of good feedback, and I think the minister is interested, and yeah, you know, I mean, people are doing such good work here in Moose Jaw that I think it would probably be quite affirming for them.
So, what is the main thing that you think is required to improve early childhood education?
I think that we have to recognize that as a society, parents want to do what's best for their kids, but they need help at all levels. And so we as a society have to be prepared to commit ourselves collectively to create the conditions that will support healthy child development.
So, what is the major issue that people have encountered in trying to overcome that?
The major issue, you know, it's not just one issue, it's a whole bunch of issues, you know. There is the access to quality child care at affordable prices. There is housing and recreation. There is opportunities for parents to have a period of time when they can bond with their children and, you know, not be under so much economic and time pressure that they don't get a good chance to do that. There's, you know, creating the opportunities for parents to understand that they're not alone in raising their children, that it's a society that helps, so that all this new information that's coming along about the importance of the early years doesn't land on them as a guilt trip. There's, you know, the school system starting to recognize that they need to expand into the younger years, but to do it in a way that's family friendly and is organized around play and is not like turning, you know, 3-year-olds into little junior students. So it's a whole bunch of little things, like a whole bunch of things like that.
So, how would community involve itself in the best way to better the young child's education and to further its probability of having a good education?
Well, the issue that I'm putting out there is development, right? And education is one domain of development, but development means physical, social, emotional, language, and cognitive, right? And so what I'm interested in is seeing, you know, the school system and the rest of society supporting the full range of things that will support children's development. Now, so you need to tell me the question again because I've already forgotten.
So how can community involve itself better to help develop the young child?
So one of the things is for there to be a strong intersectoral coalition that works on early years issues. So here in this area you've got the Regional Intersectoral Coalition for Children. And it is a broad coalition that involves the school system, health system, child care providers, municipal, some economic sectors, service sectors, the law, etc. So it is the right kind of group. It's broad, it has senior people who are part of it, and it needs the funding and resources to be able to do the job.
So with the process of helping that child develop, what is the most important thing, or one of the most important things for that child to take with it before it goes into kindergarten and its school years?
Yeah. Well, I guess the most important thing is for the child to be loved and belong, and for there to be people looking out to make sure that the child's getting the best opportunities to develop physically, it's language and cognitive and social and emotional, right? So it's responding to the child, that you're responding to the child. You're creating the environments that work best for the child, right? So it doesn't mean saying every child is going to want to do this, this, and this, right? Some child want to read storybooks. Some children want to make music. Some kids want to get inside a cardboard box and yell into the corner and listen to the resonances. So it's about, you know, creating the opportunities for kids to develop according to the aptitudes that they provide and for their, you know, chance to participate.
So for kids who haven't developed those kind of things and haven't really had an environment where they could develop that, then how, when they reach school years, how could there become that kind of support for that to happen?
Well, I mean, of course, that's quite often what happens is the kids reach school age and it's only then that you realize that there's all these problems they've had with developing. And of course, at that time, you try to do what you can, right? And, you know, if they're physically aggressive, you try to help them recognize, you know, to use verbal skills instead. If their language skills are not very good, you try to strengthen those. But it's one of those things where the later it goes, the harder it is, and the more effort needs to go in it. part of the reason that you get the politics of the school system is, in this school over here, virtually all of the kids who start school are thriving. And over here, half the kids aren't, and the teachers are supposed to somehow or another produce the same outcomes, and it's very hard to, which is part of the reason why, the idea is to say to society, we're doing a good job from the time kids get to school age and beyond, but now we have to start doing a good job from 0 to 5 as well.
So over the years, have people started to actually realize that the development of a young child is becoming a major role in later life for everyone?
Yes, they are.
So
the consciousness of that is greater and greater across the country. Yes.
So how much, is it at a level where you could almost say that it's safe to let people, so that you wouldn't have to present these kind of things? Do you think?
No, I wish I could say that, because I've been doing this now for years and years. But it takes a long time to get the ideas in, and it's also true that many of the people who would be interested, parents with young children, their children grow up and they stop being interested and so forth. But more than anything, the systems that have to change are big systems in government, the education, the health system, how communities are organized, and all the rest of it. And it takes a lot of work and reinforcement there. And we're in an era where the idea of new public investment it's a bit of a dirty word, so you're fighting it.
Yeah. So through all the information that's been gathered from your work in the early childhood development, what's the most valuable thing you have for both yourself and to help other people with their child development?
The most valuable thing I've learned is that arguments that are built up around evidence, rather than just built up around ideology, have the capacity to convince a wide range of reasonable people.
Okay. So, is there anything specific that you want our Moose Jaw readers or our global readers to know?
Well, I think that people should know that by Canadian standards, what's going on here in Moose Jaw is really good. You have really good leadership, both in the school and in the community, and so the community's on the right track. And now we need to, help it continue to move in the direction it's moving, and to get the senior governments at the provincial and the federal level to be supporting the kind of things that are going on here in Moose Jaw.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking.